the ideas and the thoughts that were coming up. The only thing that worried me a little bit was that a lot of the conversation was about, we should do this, we need to do this. What I want to present you with in my 10 minutes of fame this afternoon is, let's call it a report on a case study. I want to tell you what the company I work for is doing, okay? It is doing. I work for a company called Euroschool International. The company is neither European nor international, in fact. It's a totally Indian concern, and I'm the only person that works for the company that is not an Indian. The company started about 15 years ago, Eurobooks. If you go into a crossword, you'll pick up Tintin or Agatha Christie, and you'll see a little logo on the back that says EB. That's us, Eurobooks. About 12 years ago, the company decided to digress out of quality children's publishing into education, and we set up 2 pre-primary pilot schools in South Mumbai, and that experiment has grown into Eurokids, which is currently the largest chain of pre-primary schools in the country. We now have over 800, and while it's been a great commercial success, it has, in my view, also been a great educational success. And many of the parents that went into those first schools were very happy with the way their children's confidence grew, and they asked us, you guys have done a great job with pre-primary, you need to start thinking about K-12. So the company did start to think about K-12, and this was about 6 years ago. I've lived in India for a total of 16 years. I came here in 1979 to teach at the Lawrence School in Sanaa. It was for 1 year, and I stayed for 4. That tells you how much fun I had and how much I enjoyed living in this great country. I went back to the UK, headed 4 schools there, sorry. I've worked with the Tony Blair government on policy development and the national curriculum in the UK. And towards the late 90s, I was beginning to feel that I was running out of jobs that interested me. And suddenly in '99, I was given an offer to return to the Lawrence School Sanaa in Himachal, and this time as the headmaster, as Ashok has mentioned. I decided to do it. I never thought I would be back in India again, but I decided, yes, I'm going to do it. So I came back and started there in 2000, and I spent 4 years there. And the thing that hit me most, the teaching methodology, over, nearly 20 years that I'd been away, the teaching methodology had not changed. Things were done in the same way. The same textbooks were being used. Most of the teachers were the same teachers. I mean, a few of them had died in between, but it just, the whole school seemed to be in mothballs. Nothing had changed. One teacher once said to me, "You don't seem to understand, Andy. I have 20 years of experience." And I said, "No, you've done one. You've got 1 year of experience, but you've done it 20 times. You've got 20 years seniority. You don't have 20 years experience. That's a different thing altogether." And eventually, it really began to worry me. You know, I love this country for all kinds of reasons which we won't go into, but I do. And I decided that I would leave Sanaa, and I became a kind of self-employed consultant. And I wandered around the place visiting schools and getting into schools, because I wanted to know, is it just this school that's got the problem, or is it the whole shooting match? And when I managed to get that, I realized that, yeah, it was the whole thing, with a few exceptions. Clear quality in some places, but the vast majority of the education and the school system was in mothballs. And it looked, frankly, as if it had been that way since independence. The rest of the world had gone through revolutions in education. Eurokids, pre-primaries, had got up to about 450, and the directors of that company were wandering around the country looking for somebody who could help them set up K-12 schools. So I was wandering around wanting to set up K-12 schools but didn't have any money. They were wandering around setting up K-12 schools with lots of money but nobody to give them the ideas. It was very fortunate that we bumped into each other in, of all places, Kolkata. But anyway, we decided we would try and model something new, something different. We started with the curriculum, and in terms of the curriculum, I'm very familiar with CBSE, and I feel that the content of the CBSE curriculum is great. As I think we would all agree, Indians are known over the world, be they engineers or architects or whatever, for their technical competence. So it wasn't a problem with the curriculum, and we decided to adopt the CBSE curriculum. Just by the way, we see some figures up on the board here at the beginning about the International Baccalaureate. The International Baccalaureate is great, okay? But it will never impact on India. People can't afford it. There was a big number there at the beginning that said 33% increase in IB schools. Yeah, well, that's 3 schools going to 4 schools, maybe. You know, everybody's been up here talking 6-digit zeros at the end of everything. The IB, though it's a great curriculum, I have no problem with it whatsoever. But it's never going to get into the villages. Not when it costs 6, 7, 8 lakhs a year to send your child to an IB school. So having IB, having a presence in India is terrific, and it should give us all ideas. But is it the answer to our problems? No, it's not, and it never will be. So Euroschool is moving forward. We're not sitting around any longer now saying we need to do this, we need to do that. We're setting up schools, 3 in Bangalore, 2 in Mumbai. We've got another one in Hyderabad, another one in Pune opening this year. We plan to open about 20 schools over the next 5 years. It's a business. Oh, and by the way, in my opinion, education is a business these days. There's no getting away from it. It's a business. Everybody has bills to pay. We all need to make money. But Euroschool is doing, right now, today, what many other groups of schools are just talking about. The school's in Whitefield Road in Bangalore. If anybody'd like to come and visit it to see how it works on a day-to-day basis, you're very welcome. There's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of learning, in the broadest sense of the word. And in terms of commercials, well, we started that school June last year. There were 200 children in it on day one. On day one next year, on the 6th of June, there's going to be over 800 children. The numbers have gone up 4-fold. Now, we don't advertise. So how's that possible? The answer is that those 200 sets of parents have been talking to their friends and their neighbors and people they meet at work. As a father in Mumbai said to me once, I said, why are you sitting here talking to me? Why have you come to Euroschool? And he looked up and looked me straight in the eye and said, you know, Andy, I know the kind of school I went to. I want something different for my kids. Thank you.